Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to make a Northern Lights background for this adorable scene with these little best friends, the polar bear and the little penguin. When I lived in Maine for one summer after college, I saw the Northern Lights for the very first time, and they were bright green, like neon green. I thought it was an alien invasion. I have told this story before. Luckily, it was not. Or, you know what? Maybe it could have been. I don't actually know. However, I guess I wasn't expecting it to be green. I expected it to be rainbow colored or even red. I had seen photos of red, but it was this bright neon green. So I decided to try and recreate what I saw that night. I've only ever seen it one time, with this little winter scene. This will make a cute Christmas card in the end. Even though it doesn't have a holiday sentiment on it, it's definitely going to go out as one of my holiday cards. So I have my adorable little cutter and I'm going to cut these out. The cool thing about polar bear stamps and dies is you really don't have to do much coloring. So if coloring is not your jam, may I recommend this polar bear and penguin set to you because they're just black and white. Minimal coloring on this card. Lots and lots of ink blending. I will tell you, because I have changed the speed of this video, that the whole thing from start to finish, because I'm using a lot of inks, took about 20 minutes. So longer than this video. Now you will need 2 card panels the same size. These are my 5 1/4 by 4 inch card panels that I have pre-cut for me. There's a link to those in the comments. This is a big time saver for me. I don't enjoy cutting paper. And you'll see why you need them to be the same size. So to begin with, I am ink blending kind of in stripes because that's what I saw in the sky that night. My lightest colors to my darkest colors. So I am using mustard seed, twisted citron, which is the layer that I'm doing right now, mowed lawn, and chipped sapphire distress inks to create this. Now you could just go in with a green and be bold, but what I've found with layering inks like this, especially with these brushes where a little bit can show through from the previous layer, is the color looks much, much better in the end if you spend the time to layer up those colors. You'll also notice at the end for my darkest color, I'm not using black. That can be a little bit flat. I am using chipped sapphire, which just gives more interest in the end. So take the time to do this. I think you'll be happier with the result if you do use several ink colors. So here I'm putting on the mowed lawn, and see how the yellow shows through and it has kind of a glowy look. And also mowed lawn is a much cooler green than twisted citron, so you can see that bright twisted citron in the background. Now this is the chipped sapphire, so you can see it ends up looking like a black almost, but a more interesting color on top of that green. But the layering does make it look almost like a black. So I'm trying to just move around sort of randomly, leaving little pops of the green. This looks very much like the sky that I saw, and it's hard not to create a pattern with it, so resist that a little bit and try to make it look somewhat random. Now we will be building snowbanks with the second card, and that's why it needed to be the same width at least. It could be a different height. So I will tear 2 little snowbanks and then I will place them just to kind of figure out what I'm doing with this card. I wanted the penguin to be looking right at the little bear. Now, because this sky is glowing with this green light, I'm going to put a little bit of green onto the snow and onto the bear. I don't even have to reload my brush. There's plenty on there to transfer. Just a light bit of the green onto the snowbanks. So that looks pretty good. There's no point in making the penguin green because I am going to be coloring him black anyway. Now, before I move on to that step, I'm going to take just a dot of my favorite white acrylic paint and spritz it with water, and I will splatter some stars onto this background. You have to play with the amount of water that you use sometimes just to get just the right splatter, but this looks like it worked. So I have some larger stars and some smaller stars, and I just love that. So set that aside to dry while you work on the rest. I didn't worry too much about putting the stars at the bottom, obviously, because that's going to be covered up. So now I'm using my graphite markers. These have the teeny tiny fine point for an alcohol marker, so I always use them when I am coloring small die cuts. It is such a fun way to color a little image like this and not get color outside the lines. So I will color him black, and even though his beak and his little flippers are very tiny, I still am going to color those kind of a pinky orange. This is such a cute scene. I love that you can make these animals look at each other. I really look for stamp sets with that kind of scenic capability. So obviously they had this kind of sweet friendship theme in mind when they created this stamp set, and I am here for it. I am here for this friendship between these two little Arctic pals. So there is the sentiment, which I also die cut, and once I glue it together, this is what the finished card looks like, built from my experience with the Northern Lights. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching.